simply, I wouldn't normally join the design group, not because I don't want to, but because of all the other pressures that I've got, particularly with the organization of the meeting in 2 weeks' time. So it has been actually quite a lot of work, but the really important issue that relates to the design issues is that if I can tackle this next point, and then I might have to duck out because I've still got phone calls to make this evening because we're 5:37 here PM. So as far as the design of digesters is concerned, I know that this has been kind of a working group discussion, but there is this anticipation that in 2 weeks' time at NREL, we have a build workshop, which is part of the effort, and we should get our hands dirty or otherwise. Does anybody here on the group this afternoon actually know anything about that and what will actually happen?
So I see a 206 number that joined by phone. Is that you, Margaret? Margaret's out camping in Eastern Washington somewhere. You're on mute, Pumpkin.
Check, 206, 206, come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she may not. So
Well,
that's.
can I
Yeah, go ahead,
maybe
Alex.
clarify what Robin's asking for my understanding? So I'm looking at this
Okay,
agenda.
I'm unmuted. This is Piper at 206.
Oh, hey, Piper.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh,
Hey,
Hi.
I couldn't
Thank
get
you.
on to Zoom this morning for some reason. Sorry.
Thank
Keep
you.
working on it.
Robin, I'm not sure about the question and or the most recent agenda. I have an agenda that goes March 5th, 6th, 7th. And on that 5th, 6th, 7th, on the 7th, there's this design collaboration. I'm not sure I'm looking at the most recent agenda, design collaboration with NREL, but you're saying maybe there's a thing that's happening. So that's the thing in 2 weeks, right? That you're referring to, the agenda item on the 7th, or are you referring to something that's happening at NREL? I'm not sure what you mean.
No,
At
it's
Israel,
actually-
we're supposed to have like a Habitat for Humanity with the group with the pilot digester that should be at NREL, right, Robin?
Can I share the schedule for the meeting in Fairbanks with you? Would that be helpful?
I have a version in front of me. Yes, please.
Okay, well, I've got the new one, which let me get it on screen, then I'll share it. So, okay.
I'm excited, by the way, about all this design stuff.
Okay, so you should be now seeing.
Oh, cool.
There's a blue page that says thank you for our sponsors. That needs updating, so you can forget that. But let me just move that to a bigger page.
While you do that, I have a question. Is there any hope for a link to follow online some of that meeting?
Yep, I'll talk to you about that in just a moment.
All this excitement and anticipation and questions.
That was the opposite. Hang on. All right, is that any better?
Yep, a little bit.
Right, so everybody that is on the list, either in person or has said they want to attend virtually, will get a package of information. I wanted to send it out by the end of today, but actually there've been a few holdups with some external information. But anyway, we're pretty much good to go. So you'll be seeing this in the next couple of days.
And Robin, I'll be sending you the Zoom link today, just so you know, you enjoy.
Right. Okay, so this is the running schedule for the meeting on the 4th of March, and 4th of March onwards. 4th of March is the travel day for quite a lot of people. Getting there there's nothing formal. It's just a case of we should have a table in the foyer where people can come to and pick up a name badge and stuff like that. There's a bar there. It's up to you whether you want to just check in and go to sleep, or whether into the hotel, or whether you want to meet up with whoever's there, but nothing formal. On the Tuesday, which is March the 5th, that's our first real meeting event so most people will be in the Westmark Hotel. There'll be a bus picks up at 07:30 at the Westmark, and when we get to the NREL lab, there'll be a little bit of mixing time, orientation, check-in, because everybody, and I hope everybody has done this, has pre-registered to actually get into the lab facility. If you haven't pre-registered, you'll be probably asked not to come in, and that's certainly true for overseas visitors. So we've got the first, particularly the morning session, is a series of talks and presentations. I'm going to orientate everybody about what we're doing, what the background to the funding and what the objectives of the meeting are, and what I would like to see and what others will like to see as outcomes and conclusions. In other words, by meeting, what we're working towards. So we've got a range of people. The whole meeting will be available online on Zoom. And to answer the question, I have not been given the Zoom link by NREL. The minute that I get it, everybody else will receive it as well. So we know who wants that list, that Zoom link, but I literally do not have it for day 1 and day 2. But the minute I've got it, it will be circulated by Joy. So it's a relatively, my colleague Joy. Now it's a relatively formal, conventional conference type session for that morning. In the afternoon, we break out into workshop groups. One group will look at and discuss regulatory framework issues in distributed communities, so a more social, regulatory, environmental sector approach. The second is a discussion group, not a workshop, but a discussion group looking at the engineering issues of off-grid AD. Now you'll notice that there is a reference to a rapporteur. That is somebody in the room who will actually write down lists of main comment points and conclusions and objectives. So that's principally the afternoon's activity on that second day. Then we have the conference and evening reception. It's informal, but it's a reception dinner. I haven't organized all the details. Somebody else has been doing that, but it is a catered event on the evening of that Tuesday.
Robin, one quick interjection. I don't know if, Piper is not going to be able to join us. So do we need another chair?
Oh, yes, you're right. I'm aware of Piper's.
Yeah, I know.
So
Situation.
Yeah.
yeah, I knew her name was in there secondarily somewhere. So I need Margaret. Is Margaret online today?
It's not
No,
online
but
today.
she's aware of that situation. So
sure.
Margaret will handle that on her own. That's all fine. So it's really unfortunate that Piper cannot attend. It's not through any choice of her own, but it's simply her employer's decision. So she was pretty cross about that. I do know that. So on
A nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I know. Day 2, March the 6th. Then again, the morning is quite I hesitate to use the word heavy, but it is a true conference session in the morning. And there is, not sure, there is. The second one, Professor Chandran, he's a virtual presentee, so he will be dialing in to present. And that will then be put on screen within the room. And I think we've also got one on the previous morning like that. But the majority of people are actually in attendance. And Embry, you've just got a few minutes there just in case we have to have a change of the schedule itself on day 2 as a consequence of anything at all, whether it be somebody dropping out or a change that just a preference.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm giving you a small job to do, but you are chairing that in case
No
you forget.
worries. No worries.
Then in the afternoon, this is why I say where it says PM, then 2-hour session, no, breakout session. It was something that had been previously agreed with NREL that they are in the process of design and build of small AD units. So it was supposed to be a workshop session to do just that. Literally to do that. And what's concerning me is that I've written to Robbie Strunk at NREL a couple of times, and I will phone him this evening, my evening, his afternoon, to check what's actually going on, because I know nothing about the build, challenge and workshop. Participants are assigned to groups to create system designs for given scenarios and or participate hands-on. So hopefully, and there is an aspirational feel to this at the moment, that that's what we're going to do. So Alex, did you have any feedback from anybody at all? I know it's not your own agency as such, but have you come across anything linking to this?
No, I'm not aware of what that NREL thing is. Sorry, it was something I wanted to participate in it. Which brings me to a question. Full conference session in the morning, we'll have a Zoom link, but then in the afternoon, there's breakout sessions. So I assume Zoom would not be an option, or would Zoom be option?
I'll do my best to make it work, but I
Okay.
can't promise that until I know what the IT guys are doing in relation to what the laboratory situation, or the engineering lab, I should say, situation is. Because if there's a design challenge, then yeah, we'll be doing that on screen and in discussion. But if it's actually nuts and bolts and actually literally cutting and building something, which would be really cool to do that, and I hope we can do that, it's not something we can do by Zoom.
Yeah, so just my interest is very strongly in the sort of a design charrette, so that would be more of a whiteboard and sketching and kind of an exercise, like a facilitated charrette would be ideal in my mind. I don't know what NREL's doing. What I'm interested in is what I just described, and that's what I've been telling other people I'm interested in that may also want to participate in this.
Yeah.
If they register through the Google form, they'll get those Zoom link, whatever it ends up being.
So I believe it's not
Okay.
something I personally will do, but one of the groups should do that. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So whatever happens with this, I don't know, and I'll just go with the flow. I mean, I'm excited about it as learning where people are at and sort of the factors that are involved. That's really where I'm coming from.
The IT is always a challenge. So I was hoping that NREL would be able to do it with a professional level whiteboard, kind of academic level. They don't seem to want to do that. They do want to do it by Zoom, which worries me a little bit, because of course the whiteboard approach doesn't always work, or I don't know. My experience with it would be through the academic level, but that's what I will push for. The minute I get there, I will say to the NREL IT people, this is what we actually need. So there might be a secondary link, but I'm not offering that specifically. I'm just hoping for that.
Robin, I'll give them a call today after this call and just feel out, the people that we're hiring to do the IT stuff. I'll give them a call and walk through that with them.
Okay, I'd
Yeah,
really appreciate that, because
I wasn't even thinking like, oh, the IT whiteboard. I was thinking literally like, markers and a whiteboard, and then you just have the video pointing at that. I don't even care about the Zoom function, but of course there is a Zoom function. That's great. I barely ever used it or seen it. So that works out, that's great. If it's video of a whiteboard in a room, that's great too.
Okay, because there are definitely levels of team working online where you can do it with a virtual whiteboard. And I would have thought NREL would have been able to use that, but I don't know. I just don't know. So Simone, yes, please do ask, and I will phone Robbie Strunk, whose name is on there as being somebody that had been pulled into this. He had a colleague whose name I've had to delete because they are a no-show for definitely, and I'm worried now about Robbie Strunk because he's just not replying.
Well, I have is there any last minute, I think I'm getting there relatively early on the 4th. Is there any last minute like office supply run that we want to do with like big Post-it note things and markers and stuff that I could just,
I think that's a great idea. We
okay,
use those
sorry.
big Post-it notes all the time. I think that would be really helpful.
Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't actually hear that point. Could you repeat it?
So I'm getting in like at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on the 4th. And so if there's anything like last minute stuff that needs to get done, I can go like to Office Depot and get those giant easel Post-it note things that are, and markers to just, if we're doing a charrette or a design discussion or capturing anything in the breakout groups or anything like that, that we can just use those in the conference, and I can just get those if that would be helpful. If it's not minus 30, it's gonna be minus 30.
Could be.
All right, well, I'll still do it. But if stuff like that, if those kind of like, charrette facilitation materials would be helpful, then I'm happy to go grab some.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, who is speaking?
Embry.
Okay, well, could you ping just an email to Joy on
Sure.
that basis? Just to, can we put you in as a secondary name on that build group
Sure.
A?
Sure.
Okay, but if you just send Joy a reminder at chad@targetrenewables.com, that would be great. But
Okay,
there
I'm
is
here
an
now.
element.
Also, we have an EPA Fairbanks office, so I'll coordinate with Erin Gleason and see what of those supplies I can get, Embry, from her.
Oh,
There may
Piper, that would be
facilitation
awesome. Thank
cards,
you.
Facilitation paper, sticky notes,
Yeah.
pens, pencils, all that kind of stuff,
Sweet.
okay?
Oh, that'd be awesome, Piper. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So this will be updated in the best known version, but we do have to kind of fly by the seat of our pants a little bit with these sorts of things, particularly where workshops are involved. If the timing is wrong, we'll just stretch or compress, and we're not employing a professional organizer for this sort of thing. So we've just got to be a bunch of friends willing to be a little bit flexible on the day. And I'm sure that will work out. And then we do have a discussion panel, which again, we might change, but just to give some indication of what we're doing, that's what we do there. And then for the day 3, March the 7th, because Alex, you referred to the 7th before, but the main kind of build workshop discussion point that you were referring to is on the 6th. And then on the 7th, there is the optional tour out to Chenna and the permafrost research tunnel. So that's all organized on that basis. So before I came online, I was just double checking the information. There'll be a package coming out to everybody, either speaker or non-speaker or otherwise, that will have this finalized, updated schedule and running order. It will have general information about the event, including the link if we have it. But I have to send this information out anyway. Speaker lists, there'll be the speaker bios and a few admin items like expenses, claim forms, and so on will come as a package within the next few days. And other than that, I think we're done from the point of view of actually all the organization we can do at this end. We've been pushing a few late comers and a few people that had persistently neglected to send in their registration for the lab itself, and also a reminder that access to the permafrost research tunnel as a government laboratory, it requires separate registration distinct from the lab venue itself. But I think everybody has now done everything that they were supposed to do for that. Is anybody throwing their hands up in horror, or any other comments that you'd like to make about that? Okay, I'll take silence as a positive response. That's all we need.
Go, Alex.
Props. Way to go.
Yeah.
Good to see. It looks like a significantly different agenda than I had on the PDF. So that's good to know. I'll look to see this. Two things. I'm thinking about inviting other people who would be interested in the design stuff. I don't know yet. It'll depend on what this agenda looks like and whether there's Zoom or not. Also, in terms of participation, I had a couple questions. One, how is registration running? Like, how many is this, going to be mobbed, or what's it looking like? Do you have a tally of registrants?
We do. We've got about 27 or 27 to 30 people in person registered.
Wow, that's great.
Which I think is really good. And
yeah,
bearing in mind that we all have hurdles to get over to submit information for registration to the lab. I'm really pleased with that. I think that's good. So that's the in-person numbers, and that's not including the NREL people that might just come in through the door that already work there. So, I think that's a really nice sized group. As far as the other attendees, virtual attendees are concerned, I really don't have a feel for that, other than to say that I'm probably expecting another 20 online, and also the Zoom recording will be available to at least 2 university student groups, which will give our total, in excess of an exposure of 60 attendees easily. And that certainly satisfies everything that I want as a good event like this.
And I was really interested in, sorry, I'm not getting too wrapped up in my own interest, which is weatherizing bag digesters. And Jaime was doing that kind of work, had some good papers. Do you know if he's planning to attend? I didn't see him on here.
No, he I always stumble over this one because we have 2 Jaime Estevez, but I think you're referring to one of our Chad group members who specifically said he, as a matter of principle, would not be associated with a meeting that was sponsored by NATO. And despite my protestations that we are working with NATO funds and science for peace and security, he was adamant, and I think that's who you're referring to. That he's the only one, I have to say, that because of the NATO link actually said he wouldn't attend. And I apologize if I've got the wrong individual, but I believe that that's the case.
Yeah, Herrero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, sounds good. Good to know. Thank you.
It's just an ethical feeling, which I think is misplaced personally, but there you go. Okay, so interestingly, just bearing in mind, a note just came in from Simone. Did you just say we've got another participant there? Was that you?
Yes, Kristen Reardon from Denali Commission is also going to attend, but she's covering her own travel, so.
Right, but is she already registered to get into the venue? That's
That's
really
what I was just asking. I was intending that email to go to Joy. I don't know if it goes to both of you, but that's what I was inquiring about.
okay. No, I understand. So please liaise with Joy if there's anything that we can do to fast track anybody, although it's not something we can gift, of course. But if we, I mean, it may be easy for her if she's a US national anyway, but it's the long haul people that are non-US nationals that have to have pre-registered a long time in advance now.
Mhm.
Okay. So I've still got a few things to do at my end. So if it's okay with you, I would prefer to step out of the meeting today because it's been a long task of things, as has everybody. I'm not making excuses, but I'm not done yet. So if that's okay, unless there's anybody with a specific question related to the event on those days.
All good, thank you.
Okay, in which case I'm good to go. And Piper, I would much rather have seen you in person on that. I'm really annoyed on your behalf, but you know, life is like that.
I'm quite cross. That's a good way to phrase it. In the next conference, I'll be retired. So I will pop into wherever you are in the world and plan a bike ride around it and help facilitate the meeting that way.
Okay.
I have
Well-
unlimited leave and a little bit of money.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and of course for all your input. I'm not going to ignore you in the next coming days, so you will see everything anyway as you're part of the list for sure.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Well, and you enjoy a 99% pulled the oars on this one, so it's fantastic. It's going to go off amazingly, and the connections you guys are going to make are going to be great. So, huzza.
Well, thank you very much for that. So I'm going to duck out of today's meeting,
Okay.
and I look forward to seeing everyone that can attend in Fairbanks soon.
Yeah, and enjoy your holiday before and after as well, Robin.
Well, okay, if you don't mind me saying that, I'm really looking forward to it because we're spending a few days in Anchorage during the Iditarod start and all the nonsense that will go there before coming up to Fairbanks.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to take the train back from Fairbanks. There are 4 of us certainly that I know of that we're going to take the train from Fairbanks back down to Anchorage before flying home. And we're also going to stay extra hours at Chenna just to enjoy that. If you don't already know that, there is the tour bus that is part of our group that goes up to Chenna will come back relatively early evening. But if you want to enjoy Chenna for a bit longer, there is a bus which is available at really quite a cost, I have to say, but there is a bus available from Chenna itself as a one-way taxi ride back down to Fairbanks if you want to stay on into the evening, which is what I'm going to do.
I
So-
have a question about, I'm sorry, I have a question about the permafrost tunnel. Is there a way to just go to the permafrost tunnel and then come back and not go to Chenna Springs?
Yeah, that's fine. It's really not too far from the permafrost tunnel is not too far from the hotel, so the shuttle will pick up from the tunnel and then sort of stop somewhere to grab sandwiches or something and then carry on to Chenna. So you would just not carry on and maybe get like an Uber or Lyft or something back to the hotel.
Because my flight is like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, you won't be able to make that then.
You'll never make it via Chenna for that.
No,
Emily.
but that permafrost tunnel, I'm dying to see that permafrost tunnel. So I just, if there's a way that we can do that, if I could do that and then just go from the permafrost
Oh
tunnel.
yeah,
Airport.
that's totally fine.
Oh,
Okay. One issue will be how much luggage you've got with you, because
not much.
I was told that the bus will be nearly full and won't have much luggage space, so if you could leave your luggage ready to go at the Westmark and then get call an Uber from the tunnel back down to the Westmark to get your luggage.
Yeah. We'll work it out.
Exactly. Yeah, if it's something
Depends on how
small,
cold it is. If it's super cold, then it'll be a bigger suitcase.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
You
either
have answered
way,
one
you
question,
should-
that Ubers do actually function in Fairbanks. They don't, they still don't work everywhere, but there you go. But no, I would recommend you doing exactly that. And actually, that's a point. I will make a note of that. Because I'll add that to the general information that that's an option that might work for some people.
Yeah, a
Okay.
friend just said that train is amazing. And then I had another friend at Channel Hot Springs and the Aurora Borealis was like off the hook. So I hope you guys have perfect conditions for everything that you are experiencing.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I'm every bit as much looking forward to seeing people in person, not just
Yeah,
by video.
two-dimensional.
Okay, I'm off. Thank you
Right.
very much,
Thank you, Robin.
everybody.
Robin.
Right. Okay, bye-bye now. See you
Bye.
then.
Sorry, I also have to dip out. I've got calls, things I need to make, so I'm gonna exit as well, but looking
Okay.
forward to
Yep.
seeing everyone.
Thank you, Simone, for all the on the ground work you've been doing here.
No problem. Thanks. Good to see everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So all the conference boxes checked. Everybody that's going has all their paperwork in. Keep recruiting people. And also, I think, you know, that was a good point that he made about sharing the conference proceedings with 2 of the university groups.
Yeah.
We can certainly put it on the Anaerobic page.
Yeah.
And then share it with your different circles of people that you work with. Yeah. Directly about the topic, or sometimes just collaterally, right? It perks up people's interest in different ways. So that'll be great. This is the time of our agenda. Typically, is there anything that anybody has questions on of work that you're conducting or work progress that you want to share out? Assistance you might need thinking through a sticky issue?
Alex. You don't have to
Yes,
raise your hand, Alex.
Yeah, I'll just go back to my infatuation. I'm super interested in the weatherizing these bag digesters, and the work that Herrero did was how they actually work psychrophilically.
Mhm.
Given time, they get colonized, and there's plenty of biogas from operating even at a relatively low temperature. So I'm going to just contact him and say, look, how could we share the outcomes with him? You know, mention his thermal modeling, you know, and just find out what else has been done. Because my intention is to get to your question, like, what am I working on, or how can we pick this apart or do something? Is I was kind of hoping that he was going to be there when we would talk about weatherizing, and there would be that whole discussion. And then I could bring that out to apply here in Vermont for some people who have a small grant to do it. And I was going to invite them, you know, we'll see if they can do it or not. So that's what I'm working on. And I'll just share with him what I've done so far, what I'm interested in, find out what he has to say, offer to share this information back out to him, and just see if I can push it along. So
Alex,
that's what I'm
there
working
is
on.
there is one, so Jaime won't be there, but one of his collaborators, Lily, will.
Oh,
And one of her students who is now, I think, graduated with a PhD and is now a postdoc, the other Jaime, well, they have been working with Dr. Marti on that. And so, although it's not going to be the horse's mouth, but I think Lily has done a lot with that same kind of weatherization of bag digesters in conjunction with Jaime. So there will be some people there who have some experience in it that we can make introductions. You guys can just
okay.
nerd
So
out.
2 of his peeps will be there, and he
Yep.
and Spanish names. So we use Marti, or do we use Herrero?
We call him Dr. Marti.
Okay, go Marti. I don't want to misaddress or whatever. Not that I care too much, but I just want to remember names. Okay, sounds good.
Well, and also Alex, think about, is there an opportunity to maybe doing a Zoom or a Teams meeting with the folks that you're thinking about weatherization, as you learn a little bit more and can kind of think about how that might get put together? Because for an hour to two, it might be useful, or he could share some I know that they've shared information with us before, right? We've got slides. I can't remember if we have video
We
about
have
the
a video, we
weatherization.
have a video of Lily's agricultural digesters. That was one of our.
And I'm just trying to think if there's a weatherization component to that. There's kind of a 360
No.
of collecting the methane gas and using it for cooking in an indoor situation. But I don't know about the weatherization. But anyways, there may be components of people that you're meeting that have elements of the weatherization. You could feature that. You could get some pre-work, pre-information videos or still pictures or whatnot. And then
Thanks. Good idea.
potentially invite him, for a session directed to the folks that you're thinking about. So it's great that you've got funding for that too.
Yeah, so what you said, at first I thought you were saying, oh, bring it to this group as part of a meeting, but no. But my thinking is like, just sit down with them and do a thorough Zoom.
Let's
having
do it with
the
your
homework.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Because then you can stay, focused for the conditions in Vermont and the situation,
Right.
and then if that goes well, certainly bring it to the group.
Right. Good idea.
Behind what you learned or
Yeah.
next steps. That'd be great. Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Yeah. Anybody else?
I guess one other thing, are we going to get like this eventual agenda? Is that a function of IRPIC generating an email to everybody, or do we have to go to the website and get the agenda, or is it going to be emailed directly? Do you know?
I think Robin said he's gonna finalize it and email it out.
That's
All
what
right.
I heard. Yeah.
And we can post it on IRPIC's website but I think it's on his C
Okay,
drive.
sounds good. Thanks.
Judith, you don't have to raise your hand. Just
Well, just, a quick question about the website. You've mentioned it a few times. Is there some page that we have access to that I don't know about, or is it just on the?
It's IRPICs. We have it's a bit clunky. But we do have a team page on an international Arctic research.
I see. I mean, I found the page that says called High Anaerobic Digestion Team. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. There's no password or anything to get to access to documents.
Do you have an account with IRPIC? You need to set up an account with them.
Okay, then I'll check.
Yeah, you have to register.
Yeah, and it's free. It's just an email and a name, but you do need
I think I do actually. I just have to go see if I still remember my password.
My name, now that I'm registered, every time I open that web link, my name is on there and I'm logged in apparently, or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, it just
But
knows
yeah.
who you are.
Just remembers you. Yeah.
They do. Wonderful.
Anything else on people's minds?
I'm just curious, maybe I missed this earlier, but how many people are actually gonna be coming to this meeting now?
Did Robin said it was something like 30 registered?
Yeah.
Cool.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I heard 20 on participating
So
virtually.
like 50 all in.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 years ago, it was a twinkle in their eye, Margaret's eye.
Yeah.
This is for MBRED.
Yeah, I know. I'm checking it every day. I am
What's
checking.
the temperature? I can't read it. Alex, what's it say?
The highs for the 10 days coming up are 28, 23, 18, 10, 13, 11, -1, -5, and 2. Those are the highs. in Fahrenheit.
Balmy.
So we go cross-country skiing every year to the middle of the state, and this year it was like -20 Fahrenheit. And I was like, okay, we're gonna die. So I was like, I mean, not really. So I was like, well, the Norwegians have been doing this for forever. So I went online and I found like some Norwegian military website about how to keep cold when you're deployed, like in north of the Arctic Circle. So I'm
How to
like,
keep warm.
I'm prepared, or how to keep warm. Yeah, I'm prepared. So
You're funny.
it's just like, it's really just a function of like we were talking about before, like how big is my suitcase? Like how many animals, like how many flocks of sheep and like down
Goose.
vests and all, like am I packing? Right.
Although I think it's a dry cold there, right? Who's from Alaska? Dry cold is much better than this Pacific Northwest wet cold.
Yeah,
that
wet
seeps
cold
into
is
every
terrible.
crack and
Yeah.
corner of your cellular structure. I'm from Montana. I spent my first year in Tacoma at 84 degrees in my dorm room. People thought I was from Hawaii. I was like, it's cold here, you guys. Way colder than Montana.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. And be inside.
Grease
Don't
up
get
your
lost in the
face,
permafrost tunnel. Stay with the
grease up
people.
your face.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Conference, work? Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's busy. I know we can get back to other things so that you can go on this trip for those of you that are able to do that. So. All right.
All
I
right.
think that's it. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions in between meetings,
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
you know, it's an active group. You'll get people will respond to you quickly. Thank you. Have a
Yeah.
good day. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.